Hello, 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 Make It Happen crew. It's your girl, Lady Make It Happen, coming back to you with another episode of the DTIP Podcast, where we do the thing and we inspire the people. We help to. Dang, I got nervous.
I know. You can't be nervous. You do this. You're good.
That's okay. Thank you, Mama J. This is actually my second time doing a live podcast here.
Wonderful.
So I'm actually very excited to have Mama J here. This is a special episode because we're doing this for a Mother's Day edition, and we really want to highlight and accentuate what women are going through in this world. Mama J here is going to have a beautiful poem for us. Yes, she is.
Not tell me that. This is definitely unscripted, but I am too. But okay, we'll try. We'll see what comes through.
That's okay. Just simply because it was a little hard for me to try to prepare questions because you're such a powerhouse of a woman, and I wanted to just have your essence here today with us, and really just like get to know who Mama J is and the type of woman you are. And I've been to some of your events already, and they have just been so fulfilling to my soul. And I want to share that with our audience and just give them a little taste of who you are. So if you can, Mama J, introduce yourself to the podcast here.
I am that I am. That's my new saying. They call me Mama J. But I am that I am, the resurrected one. And I say that because I've walked through a lot of valleys and shadows of death. People don't know. They see the smile on my face, but they don't know what I've been through. And the last thing I went through, the Spirit told me to say I am that I am the resurrected one. So that's why I say that.
All right. Well, that's beautiful. I love that. Well, Mama J, being in your presence has given me a lot of healing. One, as a daughter, and two, as a mother. So having you up here is very special to me. And I really, if you're open to, because you've been vulnerable with us with some of these events here, and I relate to that so much. And that's, again, why I'm so glad to be in your presence and have you in my circle and community, because the struggles that we go through as women, and they're so taboo to speak about. It's a taboo thing. And that for me has been the biggest part of my healing and my journey and why I created this podcast. And every time I'm around you, I forget to bring some tissues.
You know what?
I get to crying.
We don't have any.
That's
That's what makes us a woman, or the little girl that's, she's up, she's home. Yes.
And I'm so glad about that. But the reason why I even created this podcast was because I was going through some things in my own journey, but I was still expected to show up with a smile on my face. And that was so damaging to my own mind and to the health of my emotions. And what we as women go through is just supposed to be unspoken. We're just supposed to keep packing up our crap, other people's crap, and just keep going in life, taking care of everybody except for ourselves. And so your presence has been that gentle reminder for me to take care of myself.
Yes.
So I'm blessed to just, I don't think y'all understand, to really just be talking with you and to have this vulnerability and this space with you. But if you can just share with us, you don't have to get specific on topics of things that you've gone through, but how is it that you did pick yourself up in some of the hardest challenges in your life and keep pushing towards your overall goals and dreams and really living in the energy that you live in now?
Well, first of all, I was born a dreamer. As a little girl, I said I would, right here on the west side, I'm in historical West Las Vegas, I grew up. And I would dance outside. I was always dreaming. My siblings got upset because I was always a dreamer. That was a way to escape my present environment. And I was dancing as a little girl outside and saying, I'm Mother Nature. I'm going to heal the world. So not realizing that dream, that little girl one day had to come back. And that was the journey I had been on. But anyway, I was a 16-year-old mother. And I had to... Basically, I couldn't stay at home like some people. My mother said I raised 5. if you ever get pregnant, you're going to have to raise them yourself. And she stuck with that. And so basically, I was given over to my baby's father, which took the responsibility. He was 15 years older than me. But I always said I was going to marry him when we were in Catholic school, Catholic church. He was an altar boy. And so when it came back around, we met when he got out the army and he connected with my family. We got together and he gave me a beautiful daughter. I call her my love child. And that started my journey. You know, I started as a bus girl at the Stardust, no, Hacienda, then the Stardust to take care of my daughter. And then from there, I just kept dreaming things I wanted to do. And I would look around. I was always inspired by costumes. So anything I wanted to do as a dreamer, I would put it out there. Like, okay, that's going to be my next job. This is what I'm going to do. So that took me from being a bus girl at the Hacienda Hotel and then moved into Caesar's Palace. I'm going to fast forward on this one. And because I know time is limited. And so I ended up working at Caesar for Caesar's World. And I had divine favor there. The president loved me. He instantly made me Caesar's World model for Caesar's Palace.
Okay.
But I went there as a bus girl, elevated from there to a hostess, food waitress, and then that elevated me to one of the first Black wine sommeliers at the Bacchanal, which was a 12-course Roman feast.
Okay.
And they were belly dancing outfit. So most of the things I've done, I was the first Black in that area. Okay. I look back at it, my life is amazing. And so I did that and I loved it because I got to wear belly dancing outfits. I got to lay out at the pond with the water, feed people grapes and wine. And it was so beautiful. And I made good money, you know, and I was able to take care of my daughter. So from there, I became a cocktail waitress. I did all this. And one day I said, I've done everything I can do in Las Vegas. You know, it's time for me to soar out of this place. And so my dream took me to New York. And I packed up my daughter. She was maybe 5 years old. We went to New York and I was at a fashion show and I got discovered at a fashion show by Carolyn Moss. At the time, she was a fashion director at Macy's. And you can stop me anytime you want.
No.
Okay.
No. This is what this is for.
I just want to make sure because I could go there.
You're
and
right.
She asked my sister, because my sister was in the fashion show, my baby sister, she said, is she going to stay here? And she said, I don't know, but we could ask her. She said, I want to use her and have her as one of our models. So I look up, I accepted her proposal, ended up, I came to Macy's that day, and I didn't know they were going to shoot me for New York Post. I was on all the newspapers in New York in the center. I had no idea what I was doing, even though we came from my family is a line of generations of models. Mm-hmm. I really didn't care about being a model. I thought it was phony, fake, blah, blah, blah. Uh-huh. But anyway, that landed me into Ebony magazine. Yeah, okay. I have it. Vogue magazine for 3 years, being the first Black plus size model. Now, when I say plus size, I was a size 12 then, but that was too big, especially being Black. Our skin is heavier, we're thicker. So I could not be a regular model. But I was the first, one of the first. Peggy, I can't think of her name now. Peggy Quinton. Phyllis Quinton was the first Black full size, but I came after her. Then she became a photographer. So that was my journey. And from there, I kept dreaming in New York. You know, I'm a dreamer. Anything I want to do. So I would go sing. I would go act. I mean, I'm crazy like that. I love it. I still do at this age, 70 years. I still dream and it happens. Doors open. So that landed me there and that opened up other doors. So I'm going to give it back to you.
No, that's beautiful. I appreciate you sharing that. What I want to know from that story, because that, first off, that's amazing. And that's what a lot of people struggle to do once they hit motherhood, is to follow their dreams. They put it to the side to make sure that their children can have an okay life.
Right.
And
right.
we're not realizing that when we stunt our own growth, we're stunting our children's growth as well.
Yes.
So that move from Las Vegas to New York, first off, congratulations on all that you have accomplished, because I'm not about to downplay your accomplishments. I'm literally sitting with a Las Vegas celebrity right here.
I'm a native too.
Yes, Las Vegas native and local celebrity right here. That's amazing, Mama J. Don't downplay you.
I know, I gotta stop doing that.
Don't downplay you, because if you downplay yourself, I'm gonna downplay my future accomplishments. You are a Las Vegas celebrity. Take that, reel it in, and just reflect on the beauty that you have accomplished. I'm very proud of you, and that's amazing, because you continue to dream. You didn't let motherhood stop you. I know that was something that I allowed to stop me when I became a mother. I put a lot of things to the side to do what was conventional, what was deemed normal and acceptable for society, going to the 9 to 5. I was a massage therapist for 11 years, and now I'm in a space where I don't have a choice but to make my dreams come true.
Yeah.
So how, from that move to Las Vegas to New York, how did you really feel about that and process it and really just keep moving past those challenges and hurdles you may have faced?
Well, I have to say this first. I had 2 siblings that was there already.
Okay.
I had a sister that was a model actress, and then I had another sister. She was a disco queen in the 70s. So, but I didn't stay with her. I stayed with my baby sister. So it wasn't, at least she already had a place. I didn't have to struggle like that. But what was the question again? I just dropped that out.
That's okay. How did you face that hurdle? Because it's still scary. That's a big move, a new place.
It wasn't a hurdle for me.
Okay.
I always say I was like Zsa Zsa Gabor, whatever that show is. I was like, when I hit New York, I hit the ground. And I'm sure I look country to everybody coming from Vegas because East Coast so different. Anyway, and I hit the ground like a country girl and said, New York, you're mine. I'm taking over. Get out the way. And I literally did that. People looking at me like, oh my God, you can tell she's not from here. But literally, just for me doing that, actually doors open, no matter where I went. I wasn't trying to be like New Yorkers. I was just being Jerushia, a dreamer. And so how did I acclimate? I acclimated within New York. I stayed myself. I did not want to lose the little girl from Las Vegas. They called us country because they said, yo, you have a Southern accent. Well, my parents, they're both from the South. So yes, I do have it. And that's okay. But, I guess it was just because I love dreaming and I love the energy of New York. I love the various ethnicities, different languages. It just amuses me. I love stuff like that. And it's a part of the evolution of growing when you immerse yourself into different environments.
All right, excuse that little break, technical difficulties, but we are right back at it like nothing ever happened. Mama J was just giving us a little bit of background about her connection with spirit and along her journey and how things just really went for her and how she just, came to be the amazing, abundant queen mother that she is.
So sweet. Well, yeah, you asked me about my spirit, my spiritual life. I was born with this gift, and I really call it a gift. We all have to learn to access it. It is there for all of us, but we have a tendency to disconnect ourselves as we evolve. But when we're little children, because the Bible says, suffer not the little children to come unto me, for such is the kingdom of God. But as a little girl, I always felt like I was dropped down to earth. I didn't belong here. All my life. Even now at 70, I don't really feel earthy at all. But with that said, I've always been it's a fad now to say spiritual. And sometimes I don't like saying it because it's just too faddish.
Yes.
And then I say, there's a lot of spirits out there. Even the bar say we got spirits. So which one are you? Which spirit are you serving?
Which spirit? Yes.
You see what I mean?
I reflect with that.
Because there's a lot of them out there and they're all not good. But for me, it has been my sustainer during many challenges of my life. I literally dealt with demonic attacks when I was in school as a little girl. 5 siblings and I'm the 3rd child. I went through a lot educationally as far as keeping up the pace in school with the other kids as we went to private school. So they told my mother that I needed to go to a special school. Now I just started really telling people this because I was so embarrassed. I always said, right here in the West Las Vegas, I went to Matt Kelly. I was thrust away from my siblings because they said I had mental issues. And I share that because I know a lot of you have gone through that. Basically, they put me in special ed. And I was the tallest kid there. And kids really did have a lot of issues. These kids, they shouldn't even been in special ed. But I felt like as a little girl, even though I wasn't little, I always felt that I was there to protect them, that God placed me there as a mother. I always felt like a mother to protect these kids from harm. Ended up, I got harmed. And you heard me say it that last week, I got raped by the teacher the whole year, right here, Matt Kelly. And so from that, I always leaned more in the spirit. I was always like an empath. They call it empath. I didn't know what it was called. Very sensitive in the spirit. I didn't understand why I could go in the midst of people. I could feel their pain. I can tell when they're having a war. I could also tell when somebody's about to commit suicide. Like I have this gift that I foresee things before they happen. But at the same time, I held on to the spirit that was my sustainer because it's the only thing that carried me through and fought the very demonic forces that was trying to take me out. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if you've ever had encounters with demonic forces, but I had them ever since I was a kid, where they would choke you, sit on the bed, growl, literally. And as I evolved more in the spirit, now most people don't know this, the more you transition and evolve spiritually, you're going to deal with forces.
Yes.
Their job is to stop you.
Absolutely.
To prevent you from going to the different levels, because there are many levels. But when you get to the third level of heaven, in the spirit realm, that's where the forces of darkness is going to stop you. It'll attack your family, a lot of things. So if you're on this journey, be sure that you're not doing it because it's a fad. Make sure you know that it's a sacrifice. It is a death. You have to die to yourself. You have to die to self-will and be willing to embrace the unknown. Absolutely. So whatever God and whatever spirit you have chosen, you better know the history. You better know the destination of that spirit. I follow the Yeshua HaMashiach, I am that I am. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. I follow the I am that used to say Jesus. But we have learned in the unveiling now that wasn't the name. A lot of things was deceived. So it's Yah. So that's who I follow. That's who have kept me, and I'm living testimony. So I would not trade that because he didn't trade me in the hardest times of being raped and so many things, that the Spirit came in and visited me. Not only came to visit and to heal my wounds, but it also told me who I am. And so that's why now my journey is to teach women and to speak to the wound who they are, because the Spirit spoke to my wound. And when I was broken and promiscuous, trying to find love in all the wrong places, to tell me who I was and why I had to go through this journey, because I needed to go back and reclaim that little girl that say, I am Mother Nature. I'm going to heal the world. So that's how it happened.
I love that I got the chance to have this one-on-one with you, even though we're sharing, for the podcast and the audience. But I heavily reflect with your story. As a little girl, I also felt as if I fell down to earth. Even going through my spiritual journey, I had a vision at some point where I was falling from the roots. I was falling out of roots, and I could feel I was wide awake when this happened, mind you. And I could feel dirt, debris, rocks, and roots hitting me. And this is when I first learned Reiki. Wow. And I fell into my physical body. I had a jolt. I'm in bed and just jolted back into my body. And this was one of the different levels of my spiritual journey, because I've been on this since I was a child. My experiences as a child were I would blow bubbles and see angels inside of them. I'm talking full on robes and harps, the
halos. Yes,
the halos. I could see these things inside of bubbles. Mm-hmm. And spirit at that time was my savior. And of course, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, just like you were saying, it's become a fad, where so much so where I've been put off by spirituality. So I'm at another layer and level in my life and journey where I'm allowing and reintroducing myself to spirit, because those who do it for fad have just put a bad taste in my mouth in regards to wanting to do this because it's a part of who I am.
Exactly. So it's like religion.
Yes.
I have a bad taste of religion.
Organized religion is definitely a trauma, especially in Black communities.
Whoa, talk about that.
Ooh. what do you have to say about it? Because I know what I have to say, and I will definitely speak on some things at a later time, but I'm not quite ready to talk about my family the way I want to talk about you.
Oh, yeah.
But it's coming because, baby, I'm on a podcast.
And you know what? It's going to free you up.
It will.
Really
absolutely.
Find the courage.
Yes. It's not so much needing the courage. It is in me needing my own space before I, rip off those fresh wounds and reveal that scar there.
Yeah.
But it is heavily revolved around religion at that. And me simply just trying to be in my spirituality, be who I am. And somehow I disturbed somebody's soul so bad that they ran back to church. Baby, that has nothing to do with me and everything to do with the shadow that you're running from. And for a lot of people, I believe accountability is a demon. Yeah. We'll get to that another time. But how do you feel? How do you feel about the trauma of religion and how it affects our healing?
Well, I'll go back to my mother because a lot of my gifts I see from my mother. My mother was an eagle. She was very keen. She would walk into church and you could see, and we 5 siblings, we had to walk behind her. I could see the demons in the people. I used to say, I don't want to be here. There's devils in there. There's demons, and I'm crying. Like, no, we got to go. Grandma went to this church. Grandma went to Pentecostal. Mama go to Baptist. Daddy claimed he's a Catholic. But what's the sad part, as a little girl, I could see. I could see in the faces, and then how they treated my mother. It was horrible. Anyway, and she still tried to fit. But again, it was a cultural thing, but a lot of it was enforced on us during slavery, our ancestors. So I call it, another level of what do you call it? The massa. It has been placed there. See, before when I was growing up, you had the freedom. Church was a place for, you learned about our history, was a reflection, but it was also a place where we talked about strategies and things and helping the community. It was so different that like it is now when Martin Luther King, our church was the resource center for everything. So the community never lacked. A lot of the things that we discussed in the church, the government stole it. And then they use it for programs in our community to keep us yoked up. Okay, because the food and everything came from the Black Panther Party. A lot of the different programs. So our churches implemented them. So once they incorporated, a church had to have a 501c3. They actually now is owned by the government. They can only say what you can say. You have to let politicians come in. But anyway, the whole thing is, I call it, they're there to keep the people yoked up.
Yes.
And not to follow the spirit. And when I look at scripture, because it always comes back to me, he went into church. When he went into the church, he tore it up. He said, you've made this temple a den of thieves and liars, and you're buying and selling. So everything's going on in the church today. You can see it. But what y'all did, y'all was always talking to people like you and I are talking. We go in the highways and the byways. It wasn't in a institution. It wasn't incarcerated. And we have to be careful because even with this new fad, and it's not really new, the spirituality, that was in the 70s and 60s with the flower children in my day. But again, if you're not careful and you're just following what they call spirituality, we also had David Koresh that had all these people followed him because he was so spiritual, supposedly, and they all followed, and a lot of them were Black. And they drank poison lemon, Kool-Aid or something. And they all died. Do you remember that in California? And so when you walk with the Spirit, then you know the Spirit. See, I don't follow everybody. Absolutely. I know I'm on assignment. If I'm with you, I'm on an assignment. And the same thing, my spirit will let me know who you are. Now, I may not say nothing unless the Spirit give me. But anyway, the whole thing with church is really sad because it's a stronghold. It's just like being colonized.
Yes.
Same spirit. It's hard to break. Even with me, I have to watch myself. It's like, I never thought I was religious. But my daughter told me, she said, Mom, you was very religious. I said, I was. She said, yeah, Mom, we had prayer all day. You had people in the house. Well, I did. But I said I did that to save my life. Prayer for me is an anchor that I will stay grounded, and the forces cannot get me that way.
Absolutely. You know? Absolutely. There's power in prayer. And yes, I still believe that even having my religious trauma, I still have a Bible. There's still things that I take from the Bible. The Bible in and of itself, yes, it has stories. It has, fables and tales to tell, but there's lessons in there. There's ways to go about seeking this spiritual guidance. Those stories are there. I don't want to take away from what church does as far as sharing these messages and helping people to find their way out of their darkness, but there's still definitely something overall it ain't right. Like this.
Anytime man touches it, like I don't care if it's religion or if it's anything that comes in a name, and ego gets in it.
Absolutely.
And when the ego, then now you're dealing with the beast. You can separate yourself. You can be in any kind of a community, but if you don't be careful, what happens is now you have become, you've created a cult, and even religion is a cult. People don't really look at the meaning of it, but the main thing is it's like going to school. You're in elementary school, so church is good for that. That is to develop you, give you the foundation. I call it the GPS, how to live this journey of life. But as you continue to develop, it's a calling to go to the next level. So they're going to give you the basic steps, but it's up to you to study to show yourself approved, rightfully dividing the word. Once you start really being a seeker and getting hungry, the Spirit will reveal to you the secrets behind the word of God.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I do know that, like for me with my religious trauma, it definitely has, again, put a bad taste in my mouth with being on my spiritual journey. But I know that I am back on that, getting on track. Because Spirit, once you awaken to your spiritual journey, and no matter how much you try to ignore it, Spirit is always going to pull you right back in. Right back in, like as if nothing ever stopped. So that's where I'm at with mine. So I appreciate your words and hearing that you may not have considered yourself to be a very religious person and always, have that spiritual guidance inside of you, and that you listen to that calling, because I see so much of me inside of you, and I know that you are someone within this community that I can trust with my spirit, and that's a heavy thing. And it's so, like, you are just such a nurturing person to my soul. I appreciate so much of who you are. The fact that you did not ignore Spirit in your calling, because if you did, we wouldn't be sitting here right now, having this moment. Okay. I probably wouldn't be on my, wanting to be on this journey as much as I am, without the community that I have allowed myself to be open to receiving. That's a big part of it. I recently expressed, I think I was talking to Lene, how for so long, I was chasing my healing instead of letting my healing overcome me. And that has been the biggest shift, is I have let healing overcome me. And it's so beautiful. It's so joyous. Excuse me.
No, don't ever apologize. That's the Spirit. The Spirit sometimes speaks through tears.
Yes,
those that sow in tears will reap in joy. I cry all the time.
Absolutely.
And I don't apologize, because the world says it's a weakness.
Yes.
But the Spirit of the Lord said it's your strength. So
that's something that has been ingrained in me, that my tears are weakness. And so what I have done in a way to, I guess, cope with the way of the world, I became that typical bitter, angry Black woman. And I did not like her.
Yeah.
Who would? But when it's a stereotype over your life before you even get a chance, it's very easy to fall into that person.
Well, all of our children, unfortunately.
Yes.
That's why I like your openness and your tears, because all of us, that's why the communities that I've created really was to help the Black Diamond, my daughters of Eve, to finally release, because as African Americans or blacks, I want to say blacks, because of the trauma from slavery, we were taught to swallow it up.
Yes.
We were taught to not like ourselves. You know,
yeah,
we weren't pretty, no matter what color we were. They made sure that the light and the dark fight against each other. One's better than the other. It was all divide and conquer.
absolutely.
And it's a lot of trauma in our community. And no matter how we smile, we continue to rise up, even with our tears. As that song says, I rise up. That's my song. That is my motivation song when I feel like I want to give up.
That's actually the song that I remember my sister by, because she was wanting to do a I believe a talent show or some type of contest, and that was the song that she was practicing like relentlessly. I almost became sick of it, but my sister passed away.
Oh, wow.
And probably about 7 years ago, maybe 8 years ago this year. And there's some healing that I have to do in regards to the person that she was when she was alive. But recently, her spirit has been calling out to me, and I hear that song like randomly on the radio. I haven't heard that song in a while, so for it to be playing on the radio, it's like, okay, that's my spirit talking. You know, my she's my guardian angel now. And because of the bitterness that I have held on to, I have ignored every bit of message that she's been trying to send to me, and I'm fully aware when it's my sister. And recently I've been healing that relationship between the two of us. And I keep hearing from her, I'm sorry, you were right. I love you. Please forgive me, and things like that. And the more that I, in my small ways, try to step outside of that bitterness that I'm so used to, and I'm allowing that spiritual connection to come back in, I'm receiving so much healing, because I'm not blocking my blessings anymore by being angry. And when we went to that event with Dale, and excuse me, by the way, because I wasn't feeling my best, so I kind of just like dipped off when nobody was looking.
Oh, I have to.
Okay.
You're right behind me.
Okay.
No apology.
But yeah, it was so much energy going on in there, and I fully believe it's because everyone's wheels were turning. And everyone in that moment was transforming, you know, like right in that moment, because I really settled into that understanding. It's not beneath me anymore.
Yeah.
It is inside of me.
That's right.
That understanding, that it is up to me, and within my mind, I have to chemically change my brain before I can walk outside of myself and be the person that I desire, to walk away from this anger that I've been holding on to, and being the person that society believes that I am before they have a chance to actually know who I am.
I will ask you a question.
Who
are you? Who are you?
I'm a woman that makes it happen, and I'm learning that. I am that I am. Genuinely so. Yeah. I am queenly. I'm abundant. I am beautiful. I am godly in my nature, because I am a reflection of my God. And so much of me has I've shut that part of me in. And because when I do choose to be my confident self, people hate that.
Of course they do.
And it's so crazy to me, because it's like, baby, I just love myself. Why do you hate it? And
because they don't love them.
Yes, I realize that.
I go through that all my life.
I realize.
And you're at a crossroad where, do you make a decision to compromise, or do you stand in your truth and your light? Do I deny the God, the spirit that is in me, just to make people accept me? I go through that all the time, but at this age, I don't care. I'm not looking for friendships. I'm looking for covenant partners, covenant daughters. I'm not here to have even covenant daughters. Some people do it to have servants in the church and everything. Oh, these are my armor bearers. Or some people do it just to make them look big. I don't do it for that. I know daughters that God sent me. They're usually motherless children, and they reflect me, everything I've been through and my process of healing. So that's how I can identify, you know. So when you say what you did, but the reason I asked who are you? Because it's important during this time to understand really who you are, not what other people spoke over you, not your mother, nobody. It is your true identity is deep inside of you.